Hey, so turning your attention to the sideboard, I want to talk about what the learning target is for this. SWBA just went over earlier. What's that stand for? Students will be able to. Thank you, guys. Correctly use PEMDAS. Okay. Does anyone remember what PEMDAS means? Okay. Yeah. What's it mean? Let's go, Presley.
Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, and subtraction.
Great. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay. Hey, how do we often remember that? We have a like just kind of another name for it that we use. Okay. Right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally to remember the name, okay? And this is section 1.2, okay? We also call it the order of operations. It's the order of operations because they're all mathematical operations. And we're saying, hey, this is the order in which we want to finish these, in which we want to complete these. So we're just reviewing these, okay? So order of operations, whenever we have numerical expressions or algebraic expressions, we'll use these, okay? So we evaluate the expressions inside, we call this grouping symbols. Okay? We evaluate the expressions inside grouping symbols. Now what did we say the first step was with the P? Parentheses, right? Okay, we said parentheses was the first thing in our PEMDAS. So parentheses are a type of grouping symbol, okay? So parentheses are a type of grouping symbol, okay? And it says, hey, here, grouping symbols include, you guys see this little asterisk that connects to this asterisk up here, okay? We're going to go ahead and fill this out. Grouping symbols include, so we have parentheses. Does anyone know another kind that we use? Okay, Dylan?
It's like the box.
Okay, kind of the box ones, we call them brackets.
Yeah.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
I can't remember what these are.
Yeah. Kind of the squiggly ones. Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I used to be absolute trash at drawing those in high school, but I got slightly less trash
I
now.
don't know. I'm good
Okay.
at drawing.
You good at drawing them? I'm gonna have you draw all of them, okay? How you good at drawing them, Mr. Carlson?
Oh no!
Ooh,
Not
yeah.
again.
Okay, yes.
The line, just a straight line.
Okay, so what do we call these? Absolute value. Yes, okay, that's another type, okay? So those are all different types of grouping symbols, okay? Those are all different types of grouping symbols. Great, okay? So hey, after we do step one, evaluating anything inside grouping symbols, step two is evaluate all, what's E? What's E? Exponents. Evaluate all exponents. Note to self, make that blink longer. Step three, blank and or blank in order from left to right. Matthew? Very good. Multiply and or divide in order from left to right. I would say that this is one that often confuses people a little bit just because of the fact that we see M before D. So we think, oh, we go through multiply, then we go through divide. Not true. You go through and you do them both as you see them. Okay? So any multiplication and division, we do them at the same time, however we see them. So if we see division before multiplication, we do division first because we see it first. And the last step would be blank and or blank in order from left to right. Levi. Very good. Add and or subtract. In order from left to right. Okay? Now, hey, underneath where we drew these grouping symbols, here, okay, It says if there is more than one grouping symbol, start evaluating with the innermost symbols. Okay? If there's more than one grouping symbol, start evaluating with the innermost. And we'll see that in some of these examples we're going to do, so we'll talk about it there. Okay? We'll say you work from the inside out when you have multiple layers of grouping symbols. Okay? We'll have that happen. Any questions on our order of operations here? Okay. Once again, this is a review. We're doing the stuff to launch into where we're going with the great foundation. Okay. More examples. Woo! Okay? That's what we like to see, okay? There's nothing we like more than doing some examples together. Am I right or am I right? Woo! Okay? Hey, so evaluating each expression, okay? So this first one. What's the very first thing we look for in any of these? Dylan? Parentheses. Do we see any parentheses here, Anna? No, shaking her head saying, no, we don't. Okay? So then we say, okay, we went through parentheses. Okay, what do we check for next? Presley. Exponents. Do we see any exponents?
Yes.
Heck yeah, we do. What exponent do we see? 2 to the third. Okay, so that means we do that first. Okay? That means we rewrite everything else the exact same when we do this operation. So this 48 divided stays the same. Now what is 2 to the third? What's that mean, 2 to the third? 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? So it means we have 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? You can think 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. So since we are doing the exponent, we'll just replace that 2 to the third with 8. Because that's what that operation tells us it is. Okay? And then we continue to rewrite the rest of the expression as well. Times 3 plus 5. Okay. So we say, hey, before we move on, we did all the exponents now, right? Okay, awesome. What do we move on to next? Okay, Ray? Okay, division slash multiplication, okay? So anything we see. Now, in what order do we do it? Do we always do multiplication first? No. Left to right, the way we see it. So what's the first thing we see then? Division. So we do that first. So what's 48 divided by 8? 6. Okay, remember, 6 times 8 is 48. Okay? And if you need to actually write that off to the side, we can. There's no worries there. Or just guess and check for a minute. So 6. And I'm going to rewrite this now. Times 3 plus 5. The reason I rewrote that is because we have to finish off this division before we can do this multiplication here. That number is used in this. What is 6 times 3 now, that multiplication? Okay, Dylan? 18. Now we only have one operation left. What do we have left, Maddox? 18 plus 5, what would that be? 23. That ends up being our answer. But they kind of get smaller, okay? What if we had done it this way? Okay, here's a what if. Don't write this part down. Okay, so we start off here. We start off the same way. Start off with the same exact equation here. Or same exact expression here. And we said, okay, we're still going to do the exponent first. Okay, then we say, hey, well, let's do the multiplication first. That seems fun. Ooh, is that going to be as nice to work with anymore? No, we just create ourselves a fraction, okay? So this is the reason why we follow these order of operations, okay? It's because we create ourselves a fraction, and we can end up making more work for ourselves, okay? Just like you wouldn't want to add up these 3 and these 5 before, okay? You guys see those? What is it, like the pictures like on like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram where it's like only like 5 people can get the right answer, something like that. Only 5% of people get the right answer, and it's like it has like pictures of, like McDonald's, like drinks and fries, stuff like that, or like stuff like that. Like every company seems to have one. They're just there just to trick people, but it's all order of operations stuff. It's all just these order of operations. They just put something in a weird looking way, and to make you think you're doing it wrong or something like that. Maybe I'll post one here later Once we're done, if someone reminds me, okay? I have these kind of numbered weird, don't I? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. I should change that. I'm gonna change that in the future. Alright. So let's go down to number 2, so that's the way it's ordered right now. Woo! What's the first thing we would look at doing here? Okay, Levi. Parentheses, right? Does it matter which parentheses we do first? No, because it's one inside the other. Is one parentheses inside the other? No, that's what we were told was, hey, if one's innermost, we do that first. Here, let's just go ahead and go left to right. Okay, so what's this first parenthesis tell us? 8 minus 3. What is 8 minus 3? 5. Okay, now we have times 3, and what's in this parenthesis here? 3 plus 2, and what's that? 5. Now I'm going to keep that in the parenthesis because what operation are we doing with this 3 and what's inside the parenthesis? Heard it? Multiplication, okay? So I'm going to keep that inside the parenthesis here on this one, even though I did not keep it inside the parenthesis on the first one. Why is it okay that I didn't put this inside the parenthesis still? Victoria?
Because there's like a multiplication sign.
We still have the symbol here. Okay, do we have a symbol right here between this 3 and this 5? No, so if I didn't write that in there, would it just look like the number 35? Would that be confusing? Yeah, so I did that to clarify that confusion, okay? So now, is there anything still to do inside parentheses?
Yeah.
Are there any operations inside parentheses?
Oh.
No, okay, there's still a number inside parentheses, but is there anything we can do with this 5 inside the parentheses? No. There's something you can do with the 5, it's not inside the parentheses, okay? So what would be our next step then? Do we have any exponents? No. What do we have next? Multiplication. What order do we do that? Left to right. Okay, left to right, what's the first multiplication we see, Dalton? 5 times 3 right here, right? Okay, we get what? 15. And then we have, what's our last operation we have then? 15 times 5, right? Okay, if we don't know off the top of our head, no shame, okay? We can go over it on here. 15 times 5, okay? 5 times 5 is 25, right? The 5 here, carry that 2 over. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 15 times 5 is 75. Okay? Remember, even though this is subtraction and addition, we did it first because it's inside the parentheses. That overrules everything else, right? Okay, cool beans. Hey, on number 3 here, on number 3, or I should ask, are there any questions on the first 2? Dope. Okay, on number 3 here. Ooh, we have how many sets of grouping symbols here? 2. Okay, we had 2 on the last one as well, but what's different here? Okay, there's one operation, there's one inside of the other. Okay, there's one inside of the other. So which one are we supposed to do first? The most inside one, which is this 6 minus 2. Okay, so that's the very first thing we have to do. And everything else that we're not touching, what do we do with it? You rewrite it and you just leave it there. Okay? What is 6 minus 2?
4.
Yeah, yep, good question though. Kind of snuck in there. Okay. Hannah, what would be next? 12 divided by 4, right? Because we still have more grouping symbols. Okay. Now we have 4 times 3, which is being raised to the second power. Danny, what will come next? Okay, the exponent, right? Okay, 3 to the second power. Now the exponent, remember, is just on the 3 right now. It's not on the 4. Okay, so what is 3 to the second power of 3 squared? 9. Okay, 3 times 3, we end up having 4 and 9. Now what's this mean if we just have these written next to each other? Dylan? Multiplication, and what would that end up being?
That would be
36, okay? You guys know the 9 trick with your hands, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay? So if you have your hands out in front of you, okay? And you have 4 times 9, okay? You put your, fourth finger down, okay? And you have 1, 2, 3, 30, and then you count the rest of your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 36. Okay, remember that, okay? This is a handy dandy 9 trick. What? I just learned that last year too.
I learned that in like fourth and third grade.
Yeah, I had never heard of it until last year. And then like I was teaching here, and then like I just like would have like 9 times something, and I see like half the class go like,
Yeah,
I was like,
that's what I
what are
did.
you guys doing? And they told me I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'd never learned that. I didn't know it was a thing.
That's how I learned my multiplication, like doing all my hands.
Oh, that 9 one's handy. Heck yeah, okay.
We
Yeah,
used to sing songs in fourth grade about multiplication, and that's how I learned my eights. And like that's.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I learned 6 times 8. I still use 6 times.
That's why I got it. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40.
I love it. Okay. Hey, on number 4, what's different about this one than the previous ones? Okay, we have the fraction bar, right? And fraction means division. Okay. Hey, so does anyone know how we solve these fractions? Matthew?
Solve the equation on top, and then you solve on top.
Very good, okay? You do the top, which we call the numerator, then you do the bottom, we call it the denominator, and then you end up dividing it once you finish the numerator and the denominator. So we do the top and the bottom separately, and then we bring them together, okay? So let's start with this top, okay? So 2 to the 5th times 6 times 2. What would we do first there, Presley? Yeah, I do 2 to the 5th first, okay? So we might not know, hey, what's 2 to the 5th off the top for head? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, okay? What's 2 times 2? What's 2 times 2? We're still going to be multiplying these. We're still going to be multiplying by 2. What's 4 times 4? 16. Okay, and times 2. Okay, does everyone understand what this means here? I'm just multiplying those, okay? 16 times 2 is 32. Any questions on what I just did here? Okay. So now we have 32 times 6 times 2. Hey, is it okay that we start doing the bottom in the same step?
Is that?
I think you subtracted by 6.
Oh, oh, y'all are right. Good call. Okay, that's minus 6. Thank you. Okay, minus 6 times 2. Good catch there. Thank you, guys. Okay. Hey, is it okay if we start doing this bottom at the same time?
You could. I mean, I guess, but like.
You mean you guess? Okay. Would it change anything?
No.
No. Okay. Would it maybe save us some time?
Probably.
Okay. Let's try that. Okay. Because if we're going to do them separately anyway, it's kind of like how we did these parentheses at the same time, right? Because they were separate, and we did them at the same time. Excuse me, kind of lose my voice there. I swear being around all you kids already is giving me a cold, I think. Okay? Not good. Okay? So let's go ahead and start trying this bottoms as well at the same time if we can, okay? If you don't want to, you're not comfortable with that, it's okay. We're going to go and try it right now. So what would be the first thing we do in the bottom? Exponent, right? And so Chase, what would that be? 3 to the 3rd means 3, and it would be 27, okay? We could write the opposite side if we wanted. 27. We end up having, that's a minus, I'm going to read that carefully now, times 3 minus 2. Okay? Any questions so far after we do the full first step? Okay? What would be a good second step here? Okay, let's look at the top. Okay, pretend the bottom not even there for a second. What would be a good second step here? So, what do we see first though? Multiplication. Okay, that's how those online ones get you. That's how they mess with you. Is they say, oh, subtraction. Oh, we gotta get that division first. Okay, so we're multiplication. I said division. Multiplication first. So we still end up having. See, I'm gonna I'm gonna write it right below it, okay? So 32 minus what number now? 12. What about the bottom? What do we see here that we should do? Yeah, multiplication. I believe it's 5 times 3. Yeah, you're good. You're good. 27. We're all human. Minus 15 minus 2. Okay. Now looking at the top again. 32 minus 12. There's only one operation left, so it's pretty easy to know. It's a little easier to know, I should say, what we're going to do next. Okay. So what would we do next? Subtract! Okay, what's 32 minus 12? 20. In the bottom, 27 minus 15 minus 2. It's all subtraction. Dalton, or Dylan, excuse me, what do we do first?
You could do 15 minus 2, but it's easier just to do 27 minus 15.
Okay, and that'd be going left to right like we're supposed to, right? Alright, so let's do that. 27 minus 15, what is 27 minus 15? 12. Okay, we still have 12 minus 2. Okay, and that does end up being 10. So now we have 20 divided by 10. And hey, what is 20 divided by 10? 2, right?
For some reason, I've been thinking my right was my left this whole time.
Like, were you going right to left?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, like, I was doing it right the first time, but then I was like, no, that's not right. So I, like, corrected myself and was saying this is my left. I don't know what I was doing.
That's weird. Hey, excuse me. Let's explore what had happened if we talked about what Dylan had brought up here, okay? Dylan had brought up, hey, right here at this step, let me change colors actually. Let's go to green, okay? Dylan had brought up, hey, if we had this step, so I'm going to rewrite it here. He said, okay, on the top, we still do this 32 minus 12. On the bottom, you suggested, hey, what about if we do this 15 minus 2 first? Yeah. Whoops. Fixed it. Okay, I'm going to actually just go back and do that.
As a teacher, you're supposed to not encourage that.
You're true. There we go. Good point. Call me out on it. I like it. Okay. Hey, so Dylan suggested, hey, what if we do this 15 minus 2 first? Let's try it. What is 15 minus 2?
13.
Okay, then we have 27 minus 13. Is that going to give us the same thing? No, because now we get 20 divided by 14. So did we end up getting the same thing at all? No. Okay, so can we do that?
No.
No, we have to go in that order. And that's why, okay? So that's when, those are the kind of things that those, the fake, you guys probably don't use Facebook anymore, I don't think anyone.
I have it.
I have it, but I
look at
don't
it
like,
sometimes.
actively use it. I used to have one, now my mom uses my account.
I
Does she
still
just share minion memes on there?
No, she doesn't share anything.
Minion memes, and my mom's always like,
I still look
I
at
made
it.
her get her
It's
new
like,
her
okay,
own Instagram, and I follow memes for her.
Okay, memes, that's friend joy. Okay, so that's how those Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, that's how those order of operation things on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter get you. Is they end up saying, like, they want you to make those little mistakes there like that. And be like, oh, it's the same thing, and they get people arguing in the comment section like crazy about it. And like, man, I'll be honest, I go on some of those, like some of my friends will tag me in them, and I'll just look at them like, this is sad. Like, just some of the responses people have. Like, I'm just like, man, I'm sorry the public education system has failed you. Okay? That's seriously what I think. Like, this is depressing. Anyway, questions on any of this? Okay, so it's important we go in the same order, okay? Hey, could we, like you said earlier, could we have done all of the top, stop, all of the bottom, stop, then divide?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, but with this a lot faster. Yeah, there's already quite a few steps, okay? And I think it ends up being easier because of that. It's not that one way is more right than the other. It just might give us a little bit of a shortcut, so to speak. Okay, now we're actually cutting corners, okay? Alright, so hey, the next thing we're going to do, and the last thing we're going to do for the day, okay, is with our notes, is evaluating algebraic expressions, okay? So here, examples 1 and 2 at the very bottom of the page. To evaluate an algebraic expression, replace the variables with their values. And then use your order of operations. Okay? So we substitute in the variable, okay? So here, evaluate x times the quantity of, I'll call it the quantity of, that's what I say when there's something's in parentheses, quantity of y cubed plus 8 divided by 12 if x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4. So what does this say to do first? Replace the variables with their values. So what we're going to do with this 3, put it where x is. So we're going to take the same expression, everything's going to be the same except for x is 3 and y will be what number?
4.
4. So we're just saying those are placeholders for numbers. We're going to put some numbers there. Now, hey, when I put in numbers, when I substitute, is what we call it, substitute, it's taking the place of, I always do that with parentheses. Okay? I always put my substitutions in parentheses. And I'll explain why here in a moment. So I would write this like that. It's a lot more parentheses going on, but it actually helps to clarify it. When this really comes into play with the parentheses is when we have a lot of negatives going on. That's when it really comes into play is when we have negatives going on. Okay, that's when it's really, really, really needed to substitute with parentheses. But I just get in the habit of doing it all the time anyway, because it only makes it simpler and easier, and actually easier to read once you start getting used to it. So we're just gonna start getting used to it early. Okay. Once again, I substitute this 3 in parentheses and this 4 in parentheses. Everything else stayed the same except for y and x changed to 4 and 3. Hey, order of operations, what did we do first? Stuff inside the parentheses, right? Okay, we see a set of parentheses. Is there an operation inside this parenthesis? No. Look to the next parenthesis. Do we see an operation inside here? Yeah, but what do we see even inside the parentheses that we need to do first before the addition?
Another
An exponent here, right? We need that 4 to the third inside the parenthesis, then we'd have to add. Okay, so 4 to the third. So that's 4 times 4 times 4. Anyone know what that is? 64. You'll have everything else stay the same. Okay? I want you guys to finish solving it now. I want you guys to finish solving it now. We're at the very bottom of the page, and we're substituting these in. Okay, so I substitute but we know what x and y are. Because we're putting x is 3, y is 4, so you replace it, everything else stays the same. And then I put 3 in parentheses, 4 in parentheses, like so. So we did the first step together, but then everyone was finishing the rest of it alone.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, hey, if you're done, raise your hand. If you finish, raise your hand. Or if you have questions, raise your hand. So we're going to start start talking about this one up here, okay? We're gonna start talking about this one up here. If you're not finished, that's okay. Not finished, that's okay. We're gonna go through them together, okay? So after this, what's my next step? 64 plus 8 inside that parenthesis, right? We get 72. Okay, then we have to do what first? The times or the division? Times, right? 3 times 72 is
212 or 216.
ends up being 216, okay? Might not know off the top of your head. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, 216 divided by 12. Hey, this one might be a little bit tricky. What we do, right off the side again, okay? In this case, 216 divided by 12. Does 12 go into 2? No. Does it go into 21? One time. What is 12 times 1? 12. Subtract that, we get 9.
96.
And drop the 6. How many times does 12 go into 96? 8. Okay, 8 times 12. Okay, if we need to check that off to the side, go ahead. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. 96. With no remainder. Okay, so our answer ends up being 18. Okay? Questions on that? Okay.
I'm
Target's
sort
a
of
little
confused. Because I did, so I got 18, but I did, instead of 96, I got 86. But I still got 18.
Did you do 86 divided by 12?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I did, but all I know is that when I was doing 216 minus 12, I got 86, and then I did
Show me where you're at.
like right here. See, I just changed it. But like, yeah, I got 86, and then I went over here and I still got 86. Like now it's multiplying.
Okay, so let's try this. Okay, so 8 times 2 is
8 times 2 is 6. Wait, no.
16.
Oh, see, because I
So you
didn't
just
carry
dropped
the
the
one.
one.
I didn't carry the one. Okay, never mind.
good. Thanks for asking. Okay. Hey, number two, okay? Let's walk through this one, okay? So evaluate 2 times x squared minus y plus z squared. If x equals 4, y equals 3, z equals 2. What's our first step? Okay? Solving with parentheses, but what do we have to do before that now since we have these variables? We have to plug them in, we have to substitute them in, right? Okay? So I'm going to rewrite everything, but now instead of x, I'm going to put 4. Instead of y, I'm going to put 3. Instead of z, I'm going to put 2. Now hey, because the x was being squared before, now the 4 is being squared. Because we were subtracting y, now we're subtracting 3. Because we were squaring z, now we're squaring 2, okay? So what you were doing with the variable stays the same as what you're doing with the number that's replacing it, okay? You're still doing the same thing with that. It's just going exactly where it was. The only thing that changed from here to here was what x, y, and z are. Okay? What would be our first step now? Now we look at the parentheses, and we have to do the exponent inside of this parenthesis, right? Okay? 4 squared, and what is 4 squared? 16, okay? Common, okay? 4 times 2 is 8, but 4 squared is 16. And notice I end up dropping the parentheses around this 3. Is that okay that I did that? Yeah, because do we need them anymore? No, we know what's going on. Okay? So now we still have more stuff to do inside the parentheses. What is 16 minus 3, Chase? 13. Okay, 2 times 13 plus 2 squared. And truthfully, do we really need this parenthesis right here on this 2? No. Okay. So hey, what are we, speaking of that, what are we supposed to do next? The exponent, right? And what is 2 squared, Dalton? 4, okay? We We have 2 times 13 plus 4. Okay? Victoria, what next?
You multiply 13 times
Yep, and we get
2, 26.
26. What is 26 plus 4? 30. Gucci gang. Questions on that class? Okay. Now, hey, I'm going to be mean Mr. Teacher for today since these were short lessons, okay, and we finished up one. We are having another worksheet, okay? But most of us, or a lot of us, ended up being able to get through that first one, okay? That was pretty dank, dope, and litty. Now, this one is just basically a bunch of order of operations. That's all this one is. It's all just order of operations. This one's a shorter worksheet, so we're going to do all of it, okay? This one's a shorter worksheet. It's 13 problems, you betcha. Okay, so we're gonna end up doing all of it there. Okay. We're gonna get out of class here in actually just a couple minutes. Okay. We don't have really much more time for this one, but go ahead and write your name on it. Okay. Okay, and we are doing all of these ones. If you need to write yourself a note, since we only did the odds on the first one, to do all on this one, go ahead and write your note. Okay. Remember, order of operations. That's all it's about is order of operations. Okay. Hey, let me go to the back real quick. Flip over to the back of me of this worksheet. I have a little note for it. Because there's an oopsie. Okay, there's some oopsies on the back of this. Okay. Hey, on the first one, on 11, it says 2y2. Okay, what that should say, 2y squared. Okay, go ahead and fix that with me real quick. Okay, it says 2y2. It should say 2y squared. Okay, we have them on 12 and 13 as well. On 12, it says 3x2 plus 2x1 plus 1. What it should say, 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay? And then last but not least, on 13, it currently says y2 minus x2. But what it should say is y squared minus x, and then the square outside the parentheses. Okay? So on the right, this is what they're supposed to say on 11, 12, and 13. Once you get those changed over, you guys can go ahead and pack up, okay?
So is this due for Friday?
Great question. Okay, this is due for Friday, okay? So we have finishing up your 1.1 if you need to, and then this 1.2 worksheet for Friday, okay? I'll go for them for Friday.
So one time a day?
Yes. Okay, questions on that?
Do I have to do the beginnings on the
No, just the odds. Okay, yep. So just finish up doing the odds on 1.1 if you still need to, and then all of 1.2. Great questions.